Hi, I'm Sister Teresa Rickard, a Dominican sister, an aunt, grandaunt, and godmother, and I am delighted for this chance to share with you about why baptism matters. It's wonderful that you have a new child in your life or about to have a new baby, and it's also wonderful that you want your child to be baptized into our church, to pass on the richness of our Catholic faith to your child. Frazzled but Faithful. I love that title, Parenting Through the Pandemic and After. So I have some questions for them, but go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, but really, truly, let's all be honest about that. I don't think that anybody has made it through this time to this point without at least a few frazzled moments, because everything, the heat's just been turned up on everything. So I'm so glad we're able to share today and at least say, yeah, we're all in the same predicament, if not exactly the same boat, we're in the same predicament. So it was a pivotal point for me as a mom. My oldest ones were preschooler, kindergarten age, and I was just having one of those mom days, where everything was going wrong. The house was a mess, even though I'd worked on it. The kids were miserable, even though I tried to be loving. Everything was wrong. And I got to dinner time, and I was trying to make dinner, and the kids were fussing, and I looked out of the window that's above my kitchen sink, and I just shot up a prayer at the sky. I said, Lord, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to lose my mind. You got to come through for me. Blessed Mother, you're a mom. Pray for me. That's all I said. And I just felt this shift in me. And I just kind of had this mental prompting that said, have them pray for you right now. I had never done this before. And I turned off the water, threw the sponge into the sink and said, kids, come over to the couch. They thought they were in so much trouble. That's it. The lecture is coming. And I just said, guys, I can't. This day has exhausted me. I'm getting really teary. I'm going to start getting angry. I don't want to do this. I need you to pray for me that I can do better right now.
And they were used to us giving them blessings every day, where we would just ask God to give them, touch their hearts with his love and all that.
And so I just suddenly felt, a hand on my shoulder, another hand on my knee, like the kids just started to put their hands on me. And I started hearing things like, Lord, please bless mommy, help her to feel better. And then another was like, help us behave better so we don't drive her crazy. And this just peace just washed over me. And we suddenly became a team instead of a us versus me versus them kind of thing. And the momentary blessing of that was huge. The lifetime blessing of that was unbelievable, because in that moment, my kids learned that they could actively pray and see something change immediately. And they had power in God. Wow. And they had the power to pray for a grown-up, more than just please bless grandma, that this was significant. And it changed their own prayer life, because it gave them permission to talk to Jesus out loud with me, to be very real, and to see that immediately what they did by asking God to come into it had an effect.
So, Sister Honora, I've heard you speak about the fact that the ultimate purpose is transformation. I'm wondering if you could speak more to that as you both lead people into this deeper engagement with Scripture.
Faith formation using Scripture is really about transformation, not about education. And by that I mean, you will be educated, you will learn things. But the purpose is, what does that say to your life? The purpose is to change our lives. The purpose is to make us disciples of Jesus Christ. And so, and I'll talk more about this later, but there'll be opportunities for us to share our thoughts with one another and our very human experiences. But there will also be the opportunity throughout the session, and even in your week when between our sessions, to do some reflection and to write down your thoughts. All of that is not for education. It is to change our lives and our behavior and to make us more of what it is that God calls us to be, and that is to be loving disciples of Jesus Christ. So this is about transformation. Although it's not Bible study, but you will learn. It's not discussion group, but we will discuss. You know, it's not support group, but we will feel supported. So our goal is transformation, and all those other good things are just perks on the side.
How did I come to write the book? Because Sister Terry asked me, and I tend to do what she asked me to do. So that's how I ended up doing it. And the book, as some people know, parallels an exhortation from Pope Francis, which in English is "Rejoice and be glad." And you know, I guess I'm not supposed to say this, but who reads papal exhortations? I mean, I don't read them. But here was an invitation to me to read it. And I must say, it really was wonderful. And in a way, what I tried to do was give something that would be a little bit like a highlight film. You know, take some of the images, issues, ideas that the Pope seemed to want to focus on and put those into a very digestible format. And importantly, to sort of be carried by what he says, not like my stuff, but to try to let his words come out. And interestingly enough, one of the images that he uses across that exhortation, he used in a recent interview in the context of the pandemic, namely that we're all called and have opportunities to be the saint next door. And I guess we'll talk about that a bit.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Bober, and I work in marketing and communications for Renew International. We are so happy to have you here with us today for our conversation. Everything is connected, a parish response. As many of you know, this week is Laudato Si Week. It is the 5th anniversary of the absolutely beautiful document that Pope Francis wrote about integral ecology. And we are really blessed today to have some wonderful panelists with us to join us for the webinar.
What struck me when I first got into the encyclical, in light of the universe story, I went to an almanac and I checked in terms of number of people in the world. 1650, there were 500 million people in the world. In 1950, we had just over 2 billion people. Around this time, we have about 7.2, maybe going to 7.3 billion. And they're projecting that in 2050, there will be 10 billion. So the question I was asking, how do we feed one another? How do we come to work with one another, play with one another, with that many people in the world? And so that still challenges me, and should challenge all of us.